So this has been a video I've been wanting to do for a while, and by a while I mean like the better part of a month. But I figured I'd wait until after San Diego Comic Con to figure out if it's really worth doing. And one of my favorite announcements from SDCC was that Doom Patrol is coming back for season 2. Absolutely love that show. You know what's another show I love? The Umbrella Academy, the Netflix original adaptation of the Dark Horse comic. That show has a lot in common with Doom Patrol, and I figured, why not compare the two together? So we'll be taking a look at the first seasons of both shows, The Umbrella Academy, the Netflix original adaptation of the Dark Horse comic, and Doom Patrol, the DC Universe original based on the comic book series of the same name from DC Comics. We've got 5 rounds of this, baby. Let's do this. Round 1, Drama. The drama of the Umbrella Academy focuses on the adoptive family of the, Umbrella Academy. You see, some time ago, a whole bunch of women across the world suddenly became pregnant and gave birth on the same day, and all those people had superpowers. And about a good number of those, I forgot exactly how many, 7. 7 of them got adopted by Greaves, I think that's his name, and they're all pretty much adoptive brothers and sisters, and of course the drama revolves around them. The drama of the Doom Patrol focuses on the Doom Patrol, a collection of individuals who suffer through tragic events that have left them completely fundamentally changed and are now all under the supervision and care of Niles, aka the Chief, who gets kidnapped at the early on in the season. So the drama of both these shows revolves around a very similar theme of like adoptive families. However, with the Umbrella Academy, since those people actually grew up together as babies, it feels a lot more like a real actual family from that kind of sense, like a real biological family with a lot of complexities and layers. And there is that with Doom Patrol as well, but it looks like that the drama in the Umbrella Academy had years upon years to develop and grow and become interconnected with one another. So based on that, I mean, it's a very stiff competition for this round already, but I think I'm going to give it to the Umbrella Academy for this one. Now let's move on to round 2, the humor. The humor of the Umbrella Academy is more subtle, like, okay, not exactly subtle, but it doesn't really take as much center stage as the drama of the show, but there is definitely plenty of comedy that we have in here, mainly focused around fuck. I love this show, but I keep forgetting characters' names. Let's just call him number 4, because that's what I remember as number 4, the guy who can see the ghosts. A lot of the comedy centers around him, also centers around 2 like hench villains that keep popping up in the episodes as well. Most of the comedy focuses around them, but there is enough sprinkled throughout the rest of the entire show. With humor in the Doom Patrol, hits a lot more prominent and a lot more spread out. In fact, they embrace the really weird stuff of the comics, and it actually works to the show's benefit because it helps not only distinguish it from other superhero shows, but a lot of the comedy can also be utilized to help like further along drama in terms of like fleshing it out or helping it into some sort of closure. And so because of that, they usually are pretty smart with that. Also, the comedy is just pretty much there for comedy's sake, but it's also really funny and just out there that it's just hard not to talk about it. So in this round, I'm giving it the Doom Patrol. Let's move on to round 3, the story. The story of Doom Patrol focuses on the Doom Patrol looking out for their leader, their caretaker, the chief, after he gets kidnapped early on in the season. It's a fairly self-contained story in the sense that they really they find the chief and there is a little bit of setup for a story for a season 2, but the story of the immediate problem in season 1 gets resolved. In terms of the Umbrella Academy, the main story is about, you know, trying to stop the apocalypse. You know, that old thing. But also sees them deal a lot of the characters trying to confront and like try to resolve issues with one another. And as the show goes further along, it turns out that the possible solution to stopping the apocalypse is actually a lot more complicated than it appears. And it's something that can't really be self-contained to this one season. This is something that's going to have to be explored and fleshed out and really analyzed in future potential installments. On the one hand, it is kind of not nice to have like a whole story more or less contained to one season. It's like a nice, clear cut plot line. But with the Umbrella Academy, it's a lot more complex and nuanced, showing that while both seasons deal with like dealing with the conflicts is more through words as well, more than just all out brawl with the Umbrella Academy, it's a lot more nuanced and like the real way to have stopped the situation was to actually go back a lot further in time to actually not be so shitty to one another. Actually dealing with like more talking things out rather than just all out brawl. With Doom Patrol, all out brawl can be seen sometimes a necessary thing, but with the Umbrella Academy, it really shows that it can't be the only thing you rely on. So it's a lot more nuanced. So I'm going to give this round to the Umbrella Academy. Now let's move on to round 4. Villain. There really isn't a clear-cut villain in the Umbrella Academy. I mean, you got the two hench villains who really more or less towards the end of the season just focus on fighting each other. You've got the head villain that is in charge of the two hench villains who really isn't so much a bad person, just trying to do her job. And then there's of course, I almost said Violet, but I know that's not her name, so I'm just gonna call her number 7. She doesn't really become a villain until like the last few episodes, but she really isn't like again a clear cut villain. You understand where all of this is coming from with her. With the villains of Doom Patrol, they're more clear cut. You got several one time villains, but you also have the main villain, the one who kidnaps the chief. He is known as Mr. Nobody, and he is one of the highlights of the show. He is by far the most comedic of the entire ensemble, even going so far as to be a fourth wall breaking character. I guess everyone wants to be Deadpool now, but with him it strangely works. And it's with him that we get some meta humor in the show and the genre in general, but he also poses a real, like, true threat to the Doom Patrol. With the Umbrella Academy, like, since there really isn't a clear-cut villain, that may help, like, deal with, like, the drama and, like, character work, but doesn't really give that much of, like, a real opponent to go up against, which is usually something a lot of superhero shows would like to try and get, even if the villain is really complicated and sympathetic. Mr. Nobody is not really necessarily a sympathetic character, but he is a clear-cut opponent that does help like move the story along. So this round goes to Doom Patrol. Alright, we've got a tie. Let's move on to the 5th and final round, the main cast. Yeah, so we've got 7 main characters of the Umbrella Academy, and for some reason, I can't remember a lot of their names. Ugh. And you've got Doom Patrol, which has a total of, let's see, 5, is that right? Yeah, that sounds about right. 5 characters. Well, I guess 6 if you count the chief. Anyway. So again, there's a lot of complexity with a lot of these different characters. And there's a lot of humor with a lot of these characters as well. But as you go through the season of the Umbrella Academy, it turns out that some of these characters really make decisions that are kind of stupid and dickish. Like, you can kind of see where they're coming from, but you can also see that there are clearly better options than the ones they chose in that particular scene or episode. And they kind of come off as a little bit unlikable. Hold on just a second. Sorry, I probably came off as a little bit unlikable just then and there. Anyway, so basically, they are overall very likable, but there are definitely a lot of moments where it doesn't really feel like that was the best thing they could have done in that situation. With Doom Patrol, they're very likable, but they're also still, complex, and they make decisions where probably maybe not be the best decision, but you feel a lot more for why they chose that decision, and you can see, and it's not really comes off as being a bad decision per se. And so they really talk things through. They really actually try to come together to work as a unit. With Umbrella Academy, they try to, but they fail so bad. I mean, that's part of the drama and the underlying message of this first season in particular. But man, oh man, do they not get what they're supposed to do? They're very enjoyable. I like them very much. But in terms of actually being effective and them actually being like more characters that you can actually root for the entire time instead of most of the time, I'm going with Doom Patrol. So the round and the face-off go to Doom Patrol for the first season. I probably will do second season face-offs in the future too. That'll probably be fun. Anyway, that's all I have for right now. Like, comment, subscribe, share. I'll see you guys next time.